Hi, my name is George Diaz, and this is episode 1 of Transforming Small Business Thinking, Removing the Obstacles. This is part of an extension of a Facebook group or a movement that I started. It's called Can't Meet in Person Powerful. And my guest today is Jenn Brough. She's my realtor, and ends up that she is actually really good with some online stuff. And I thought it'd be good to talk to her about what are the things that have enabled her to be successful when a lot of people are all freaked out over this pandemic. Not that we're not all freaked out about it, but she's actually thriving. So Jenn, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, we know each other through my daughter, and then we also used to be in a marathon training program together. So we kind of go back a little ways.
Yeah, only 8 years, that's it.
Isn't that long already?
Yes, it's been that long.
So Jenn, kind of introduce yourself. I know you and your husband is a real estate broker. I guess he.
Yeah. So he's the broker of our office. Our company name is Jennifer Holmes Realty because, I had to put my name somewhere in there. But he's the broker. I manage our office and I am a full-time realtor. I've been doing this since 1998, straight out of high school. So 22 years. I'm not that old, but I just started very young. And we started off our business doing residential rentals, and it kind of just did a snowball effect into sales. And now we just do both, and it's wonderful.
Right. Now you're very active online.
Yes, I love social media.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because we ran into each other at a local, strawberry patch, and that's where I met your daughter for the first time. And then my daughter goes, yeah, you know her. She's probably in your stream. And when I started looking, I connected, the real life person with the online person.
Yeah.
So you kind of make your Facebookish, Instagram world one and the same with your selling world, right?
I do. For the first few years when social media began to explode, I was trying to do both. I was trying to keep it personal, like one personal page and then one business page. And I thought, there was such a disconnect between the two that I didn't enjoy it. My customers didn't seem to be enjoying it either. And really, my life is all about real estate and my family. So I thought, let's make this easier. Let's put it all together. And it just works. It works super well for me. And I'm very candid. I'm very open on social media. Everybody knows everything about our life, including our IVF journey with our daughter, that it took us 13 years to have her, and we were open about it. And the experience has been wonderful, really. Social media has been great to us.
Yeah, and this some people, my wife calls me the Facebook whore, because it's like, you want to be my friend? Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm very open, and I know I struggled with that years back when I started. It's like, is there the George Diaz personal and then the George Diaz, the online marketer? And trying to make those disjoint was, first of all, difficult. And then what I think a lot of us need to do is my brand, and by this I mean the George Diaz brand, is a brand whether I want to make it a brand or not. Right? I mean, people are going to perceive me either way. And then there's my business, and there's going to be a brand for that. And by bringing them together, first of all, it made my life a lot easier. I didn't have to worry about the two accounts, and I don't have enough followers in one versus the other. And then it's a matter of, I'm going to connect with some people. I'm not going to connect with others. And you said, like you guys had a hard time having your baby. And people know that I'm involved in jail ministry, and I'm very involved in my church, and I run, and I'm super wine person, which I know you are too.
Yes.
And I'm not making any secrets about it. I mean, if you don't like wine drinkers, well, I guess you're not going to do business with me, but that's just life, right?
Right, of course. And I mean, I feel like whoever doesn't connect with you isn't your people anyways that you're going to do business with. So it doesn't matter. Like, if you don't connect with me on a personal level, I will more than likely not be the realtor that is adequate for your personality and for your character. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's true. So, okay, so clearly you were already online. Now come, March, the middle of March, what changed and what did you see happen in your space?
Oh my goodness. For us, it was a little strange the first couple of weeks. because I had a lot of active deals going on, right? Rentals and sales. So it was kind of just, I thought we're going to keep afloat for a few weeks and then we're going to shut down because everybody's closing. And luckily, none of my deals fell apart. Thank goodness, because there were some rental and sale transactions that I was hearing from other realtors that people were losing their jobs, right? And they just couldn't close on properties, whatever. I was lucky enough that none of those things happened to my customers. I kept busy those 2-3 weeks, wrapped up all those transactions. And then I realized something huge was happening, which my phone was ringing double. My Instagram page was exploding with DMs. I was getting messages left and right about rentals and sales. So I had a conversation with my husband, Bill, and I'm like, I don't think this is the time to sit and shut down and say, we can't do anything. I think this is the time to like hit the ground running and like double down and say, we're going to help everybody and anybody that needs help, because people still need to move.
All right. And so some of your other peers literally shut down, right?
Yes. I was so surprised. Specifically on Facebook, I saw a handful of posts. And I mean, this is a little negative thing to say, but I'll go ahead and throw it out there just in case anybody, it's useful information for anybody, right? Somebody was actually saying all realtors should stop working and stop going into buildings and stop going into properties. And I was in shock. And that doesn't happen often. Yeah. And I refused to comment on their post, right? Because I didn't want to start a war on anything. I'm like, I'm going to do my job and continue helping my people. But it was definitely not the time to shut down. What are you going to do if you're the one who needs to move?
Right. I mean, for example, the reason we kind of reconnected recently is because we're in the process of looking for a house. And so, we haven't hired Jen because she doesn't get hired. She hopefully finishes transactions, but so that's why we connected, because my business honestly hasn't been affected. My wife actually, because of this, changed jobs. She was in the airline industry and got a job, in a hospital system, and increased her income, which was like
amazing,
just kind of surprising. So what do you think kind of led to the Instagram jump and the people, DMing you and calling you more?
I think it was, people were kind of bored at home, right? The people that had to stay home or work from home, you have a little bit more flexibility to have that down.
Maybe a lot of flexibility.
Or a lot of flexibility. Yeah. And I think people were just on Instagram and other social media sites. I just happened to see it a lot more on Instagram. And I found there were more likes, there was more comments, there were more DMs, there were more wonderful conversations, because that's really what social media is about. It's just a different version of a phone call or a text message. So I loved it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because right now we're like, 4 or 5 months into this. And I remember at the beginning, boredom was a big thing, which is opportunity for a lot of folks. I mean, the restaurants were dying, the bars are shut down. But, now I've got either my kid, now whatever's going to happen now with the schools, but at the beginning it was like, okay, my kid's at home. So that's kind of crazy. They're bored. I got more time. Nobody's going out on Friday, Saturday night. So there's more time to do things probably people that had been holding off, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that actually includes getting into real estate and searching properties. I can tell who reaches out and just is curious, and it's fine, because that's how you begin the process. It's pure curiosity at the beginning, right? It's right. Like, oh, let me see if I can get pre-qualified. Let me see if I can find that condo on the water, let's say. So I was getting a lot of not customers, right? Like, because there were new people, but people reaching out saying, hey, I'm just curious, like, what does XYZ cost? I'm like, cool, okay, let's do a quick search for you and send it your way. And I had 2, I don't want to say random, but they were kind of random because they found me on Instagram. It was one young lady. She found me on Instagram through a hashtag, contacted me. We went out, started looking at properties. I remember it was in April.
Jose, you said you went out.
Oh, yeah.
So you met.
Oh, yeah, we met in person. Yeah, my job can't stop. I mean, there's some people that are.
I want to talk about that too, but went out means what? We met at because you couldn't meet at a Starbucks.
No. So our initial conversation started on Instagram through direct message, and then we exchanged phone numbers. We had a great conversation over the phone, and I connected her with the right people to get pre-qualified, which she did immediately because she was amazing. She was on it.
Now, let me ask you, normally that would happen in a face-to-face meeting, wouldn't it?
You know, it depends on the person. Some people like to meet face to face, or at least via FaceTime or a WhatsApp video, right? So they can see who they're dealing with. This particular young lady didn't want to see my face until we met in person.
All right.
But yeah,
but you were already kind of predisposed. I mean, that's kind of your mode of operation. I mean, someone who's not as active online or whatever might say, oh, hey, let's set up a time, either come to my office or we'll meet somewhere. But you were already set up to do things online anyway.
100%, 100%. I've decided a really long time ago is flexibility is key in this particular business. And I kind of go with the flow with the person that I'm talking to. And I'll know immediately if they want to see me in person or if they want to do a FaceTime, because they're straight out. They're like, hey, I want to meet. Can you meet at this place Monday 10? Okay, great. Let's do it. Right. This young lady, I could tell right away she was just a phone person and a text person. And she really didn't need me to hold her hand, because people that meet in person, they want that interaction of me spending half an hour with them face to face.
No, right. And for example, we met, and just because of the circumstances, but it's like, for me, I mean, I run my business out of my house. My team is spread out from Spain all the way to the Philippines. And it's kind of a hassle to get in a car and meet with someone. Today, I actually put on a nice shirt because I'm recording, but otherwise I'd be in my gym shorts and, t-shirt.
Yeah.
So it is convenient. It actually makes it so that, you don't have to worry about Miami commuting. Now, as people start dealing with you, what are for example, I got to go see a house, and there are issues there, right? So how are you getting around those?
We have a bunch of different options for our buyers or our renters, depending on what they feel comfortable with. So the traditional way, right, pre-COVID, is we meet at the property and we tour it in person, right? And we do that several times, depending on how many places they pick. And now during COVID, a lot of people don't feel comfortable meeting in person. So we give them options of, I go visit the property for them. I do a very detailed video. It's quite lengthy, anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending on how big.
So you're walking around the house with your phone during a tour of the property, right?
Yes. Yeah. And when I say detailed, it's like, it's almost, I try to make it feel like if they're at the property. So I start from the front of the property, whether it's a home or a condo, show them the property address, walk through the door, and we're taking video of the floor, the walls, the baseboards, the ceilings, like anything that they would want to see when they come in.
But you're not doing anything high tech. I mean, you're just using
No.
So it's not like I got to spend a lot of money or anything.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, if you know how to take a picture, you know how to take a video. So it's super simple, right? It's you press the button, you point, and try to stay steady so that you don't drive the person crazy with movement. Right. That's it.
It takes a little bit of practice, but I mean, in your case, you've done it before. I've done a ton of video. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, video. And as a matter of fact, I even have like a little mini course on get over your video fears.
Oh, cool. I want to see it.
Yeah. But in your case, you're not even on camera because you're behind the camera talking, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So interesting that you point that out, because I sometimes, if I've never met the person, meaning I've never FaceTime, WhatsApp, and I don't have them on social media yet, they have no idea who I am. I do usually start the video with a quick intro so they can see me right in front of the property, right? And then I'll flip the camera and I'll do their tour.
Right. And like I said, I've got this, like mini course on doing video. And actually one of the challenges I give people is do a Facebook Live, like 10 days straight on whatever you want to do. And it's almost to get over that initial fear, because once you get used to being in front of the camera, it's kind of like, it's not that much different than talking across the table from somebody.
Yes. There's two details to that. One, you're absolutely right. There's zero difference of me speaking to you right now here versus in person, or speaking to someone Facebook Live. And I remember this was years ago when email first began, right? I remember one of my agents saying, it's so hard for me to write an email because I can't explain what I want. And I said, okay, well, pretend you're talking to the person. That's it. type it out as if you're talking to the person live, right? And if you do that enough times, then it becomes natural. And all of a sudden, what, 20 years later, we're totally fine writing emails.
Yeah, and you know, and interestingly enough, again, I've been on video, gosh, probably since at least 8 years. And I remember going to my first ones, and of course you start watching them, and then you notice all your ums and you knows. I've actually removed ums and you knows from my talking in person.
Oh, that's great.
Only because, you get such immediate feedback. You never watch yourself talk to other people. So
Yeah.
it's actually not a bad skill to pick up so that, you're expressing yourself more effectively.
Now I'm wondering in the last 10 minutes, how many times I said,
No, you're pretty good. You're pretty good.
Okay, great.
I'm a really good catcher of those kinds of things. But see, you're someone who's, natural in front of the camera, which is one of the reasons this is episode 1. I'm going, if I'm going to do this with someone, let me not do it with someone that I've got to pull information out of.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm excited. I'm glad it's episode 1.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what would you then recommend to business owners in general, who are either shut down, super challenged, or whatever, to take off, with some sort of new initiative?
I would say first, remove the fear of anything, right? And it's hard because if you're shut down, you're already fearful, right? Of what
And I don't think you mean get rid of your fear of the pandemic, because there's some legit, but your fear of trying something new, right?
Exactly. Yes. Thank you for clarifying that, because I definitely don't want anybody to think I'm saying that COVID is not like a thing. It's a thing. We got it. But yeah, take your fear of trying something new. And I'll give you a great example. And I don't know this person
There
personally.
was an by the way. That was one
I did? I just said it?
You had an but
Have you heard of the Threefold Cafe in Coral Gables?
Yeah, it's on Geralda.
Yes, yeah, and I think they have another location. I'm not 100% sure, but I remember when the pandemic started and the restaurants were shutting down, this guy, wow, he went full force on Instagram. Number one, voicing, right, the concern of how his restaurant can potentially shut down and it's a family business and all this stuff. He did not mess around. He got a plan B and C with a quickness. So he began to sell his product, his restaurant, like the veggies and the fruits, and got kits, family kits, so they can just pick up and make it at home. And I'm looking at him I think his passion was driven out of frustration, but good for him because he did something with it. And he was just not scared to just jump in and try something new. And if I'm not mistaken, just yesterday or the day before, I saw in Coral Gables magazine that he's opening a brewery on Alhambra. So he must have really gotten out of this in a positive way. And now he's opening up a second.
Well, I work with a mentor, and she's out of the UK, and they have a pizza business, not them, but one of their customers. And so, again, shut down, family business, really bad shape. And so he started doing videos with his mom, cooking in the kitchen and talking about how they make, so it kind of went into the history of how they got into the business and things like that. And then him and his mom have this banter back and forth that's hilarious. Well, that turned into, they picked up on the need that people don't have, good food, unless you're like a really good cook, and people are bored with the food scene. So they started, releasing recipes, showing kids how to do stuff. Then they got the idea, we're going to start making meals for the first responders, for the healthcare folks. And then they started going to the assisted living facilities, or the old folks homes. And they got so much publicity.
That's great.
I mean, over the top publicity. And his family was kind of going, dude, we're going to be giving away food. We're trying to pay our bills here. And he says, no, we're going to do it. He got so much publicity, his takeout business has taken off.
Oh, gosh, I love it.
Because they were really daring. They really went out to do something unique, and it paid off for them. And I mean, restaurants and bars, talk about an area that's been killed, right?
Yeah. And that is a fantastic example that goes to show you, if you just start one new thing, you're not sure where that's going to go, right? You're not sure where that's leading you, but those videos led into that second idea. And then that's what boomed their restaurant. Fantastic. And it might have not been that second thought, right? It could be the third, the fourth, the fifth, it
Could
doesn't
have been their
matter.
20th idea. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The point is start, do something new, try it. What's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work, fine. You exit out and you go on to the
And I
next.
think a lot of us have a fear of looking stupid, failing, whatever it might be. And it's kind of like, you know, you got to throw a lot of spaghetti up against the wall, see
Yeah.
what sticks. And when you find something that sticks, how do we make it better?
Yeah, and that actually makes me think back, probably like 4 years ago, I had a mutual friend. I met a Beachbody coach, Janet Maceda, wonderful lady. And somehow I got myself involved in Beachbody. I was like, oh, I want to become a coach. This is going to be amazing. You know, I was trying to get fit and then help other people at the same time. But it turns out I cannot multitask. I am made for real estate and that is it. But the point that I say this story is because one of the videos that I decided to post was one of my workouts. And it was the first one too. One of my first workouts by myself at home. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. Oh my goodness, I ate it. Like I was running from one side to the room. I tumbled, hit a mirror. The mirror fell on me. Like I'm going to find it and I'll repost it and tag you just so you can see. And can I tell you, I thought I was so embarrassed and I couldn't believe it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to post it anyways because whatever, it's funny. It was the video with the most likes and comments that I've ever had in my life. So even when you mess up, there's always something like to be learned from there. And it was fantastic.
Yeah. And a lot of people have, you know, that self-consciousness, whatever it might be, but it's like, look, we're all human. And I think right now, like my brother's working at home, he's got a 4-year-old and he takes care of her a couple of days a week. And so he's on a call and the kid goes to the bathroom and it's like, Dad, someone needs to clean me, you know, and it's like, you know, mute, you know, whatever. Hey, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
We're all human, and admitting that is just part of what it is. The other thing is, I think a lot of us are too caught up with wanting to be perfect. You know, perfect is the enemy of good enough.
Yeah.
This, you know, I've blogged over the years in different topics, and as you start blogging, or like this one, this is the beginning of what I hope will be a number of episodes. You try it and it kind of steers you. You discover things, people give feedback, I ought to try this. And it goes from what you thought was this to this. And sometimes it's 180 degrees. And you discover what it is by doing it good enough and maybe sometimes really bad in order to really get it going. So, you know, I recommend to people, don't ever, you know, not try something for fear of failing.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Cool. Well, hey, thank you very much for this episode. We're actually getting some Facebook feedback. I finally figured out. I'm trying not to.
I'm not on it.
But thank you, those of you that are joining us. Any final words that you want to say? Feel free, by the way, you know, tell people who you are and how they can find you.
Oh, great. Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram, Miami Home Finder. You can find me on Facebook, Jennifer Brough. It's a little complicated.
It's right there underneath your name because your name is.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good. But it's Jennifer. Everybody calls me Jen, but Facebook, it's Jennifer Brough. And I'm also on TikTok under Miami Home Finder. If anybody's doing some fun TikTok stuff.
TikTok, I've got to find you. I started playing around with it for my wine business. So.
Oh, it's so much fun. I love it.
Very good. Well, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you have a great day.
You too. Bye.